What is going on, family? How is everybody doing? Get your libations. We are going to go through it. And we're going to get through it probably reasonably quickly today. We're gonna get right to it because I want to have a guest on the line who I want to really talk to about something that's going down. But before we do that, let's go to what we always do. Please, if you are in there right now, please hit the like button for me. Please hit that like button. I appreciate it. I would appreciate it. Just hit that like button. Costs you no money. You can go to patreon.com/ycarnell if you want to make a monthly donation, or donatebrown.com. Hit the subscribe button if you have not hit it already. Hit it. You can always undo it. You can subscribe to the newsletter. It's in the description. The shirts are in the description too. Order those soon too, because after probably the 10th is the cutoff day where I will assure you that you will get your shirt before the conference. And we're going to try to sell some there. So, just FYI. But there are some other things that we have to talk about, that we have to get through. You all know what the book club book is. MLK. I'm not going to put that up there right now. I want to get to something that happened, and I want to get to it quick, fast, and in a hurry, fam. Is everybody doing okay? Everybody done fell in? All right, I appreciate you. I don't know how many of you all saw this video. I don't know how many of you all saw this video, but if you didn't, Jamion Fowler on Twitter, it was a video of Bernie Sanders, the candidate Bernie Sanders, being asked about reparations, and then our friend, our ADOS, Jamion, being shooed away, and somebody kind of put hands on him, and they tried to kick it in a certain way. And see, that's what always happens with us when we try to do politics, is cast in a certain way. See, one of the things I have always said on this show is two things. One thing is, I don't do the Messiah kind of leadership. That's not what I do. I don't do that at all. I do not do that at all. I tell people, be nonviolent. Do not cause violence. Keep your hands to yourself. Keep all that to yourself. And I say, be responsible. And I say, stand on your square, right? Or our square. Because one of the problems that happens is that you get back down. So everything has to be about the lineage wealth gap. That's what it has to be about. It has to be about that. So that's what I say. Those are the parameters. But I don't want to be sort of this helicopter person who just kind of swoons in and just tries to take over. We saw it in Ferguson. We see it everywhere. You have this kind of leader who kind of swoons in and tries to take over. If I ever come, I want to be there as support. So I try to set this up to where people can become or be leaders in their own community, as opposed to the Messiah thing. It don't work that way. So this is what this gentleman was doing. He's been around, and I want to show you a clip just to kind of show you who don't know, like how he has kind of how he's been around and what he's been doing, just to give you an idea of like what's been happening and how long it's been happening. Now this clip is a fairly long clip, so just watch it. We're gonna come back to it, and we're gonna have a conversation with him. So I want you to watch this, and we're gonna talk about how Bernie ran. We're gonna talk about all this, and we're gonna talk about what's happening and what it means for us in terms of our politics. So try to turn your computers up, because I don't know, sometimes it's not quite loud enough. So try to turn that up, and then we'll come back and we're going to have the conversation.
Can I ask you a question about reparations, sir?
Sir.
What are you doing, man?
Sir.
What are you doing?
Can I ask you a question about reparations? Sir, Sanders. Can you get off me? I'm walking. I can walk myself.
Hey,
Don't touch me.
hey, your phone?
Senator Harris. Senator Harris.
And we'll see you at the event tomorrow, right?
Senator Harris. Senator Harris. Huh?
Yeah.
Senator Harris.
We'll see you at the event tomorrow.
Senator Harris.
I'll text you my number.
Senator Harris. Senator Harris.
Hey, we did an interview this morning. I guess you'll listen and say that.
Senator Harris.
Oh, good. Okay.
Senator Harris.
This way.
Senator Harris. Hey, Senator Harris.
All right, sir.
Senator Harris. What's your stance on reparations? What's your stance on reparations, Senator Harris? Senator Harris. What's your stance on reparations? Senator Harris. Senator Harris. Senator Harris. What's your stance on reparations, Senator? Senator Harris. Senator Harris.
All right. She's got to get out of here. She's going that way.
Do you know what her stance is on reparations?
I'd be happy to have somebody from the campaign reach back out to you to give you them.
So you don't know?
I can give it to you, but we got to get her out.
Senator Harris.
Sir. Sir.
Senator Harris.
Would you like to be put in touch with someone from the campaign?
Is there somebody here I can talk to?
Absolutely. It's going to happen after she leaves here. I can get your contact information. I'm happy to do that
Excuse us, sir.
Senator Harris. Senator Harris, what about reparations? What about reparations, Senator Harris? Senator Harris. Senator Harris, what about reparations? What about reparations?
What about
Senator Harris.
homeowner policy? Never wants to talk to black people.
Well, let me tell you something. If you wait on cash payments to come out of reparations, you're going to wait forever. It's not going to happen. So what you got to do, let me just talk. Don't put that in my face.
Why are you touching me?
Okay, all right. I'm going to leave you alone.
Cut the check. Tell Nancy Pelosi to cut the check.
Yeah.
You do that for me?
She's the treasurer.
Cut the
Is
check.
she the
Somebody
treasurer?
better cut the check.
Well, you
Reparations are owed, sir.
You talk to the
ADOS. You're not going to run away from this issue, Congressman.
Oh, I'm not trying to run away from it.
It seems like you are. You're walking away right now.
Oh. I'm
Cut the check, Congressman. Cut the check. ADOS, you're not going to walk away from this, Congressman. ADOS is everywhere. Cut the check.
What is going on with you? You didn't get your breakfast on time.
I got plenty of breakfast.
Well,
You can tell, right?
Let's talk about it.
All
Let's
right.
do some social work.
Senator Warren, what about reparations? Senator Warren, what about
I
reparations?
did it from the beginning.
Okay.
Senator Warren, how do you
You gonna cut a check? Mr. Senator Warren, you gonna cut a check? Senator Warren. Senator Warren. Senator Warren. Senator Warren. Senator Warren. Senator Warren, are you gonna cut a check? Senator Warren, are you gonna cut a check?
1, 2, 3.
Senator Warren, are you gonna cut a check?
Okay, Gabrielle.
Senator Warren, can we
Senator Warren, are you gonna cut a
Can we
check?
get a picture of Senator Warren? Senator Warren.
I've been one of the original co-sponsors of HR 40.
Okay, so are there gonna be cash payments once you're elected as president?
Don't have time to get into
Why not?
40 is for.
Why not? Don't you have time?
Because it's midnight.
It's just a simple question. Ms. Gabbard. Ms. Gabbard. You had mentioned racism earlier. Let's look at it from an economic perspective. Black Americans in this country own 2.6% of the wealth in this nation, not income, wealth. We're 14% of the population. White Americans own around 90% of the wealth in this nation. There's been a lot of talk about reparations. My question is twofold. Do you personally, outside of Congress, outside of the White House, outside of the presidential race, do you personally, in principle, believe that the Black American descendants of slaves should receive cash payment reparations? If you do not, what closes that black-white racial wealth gap?
So I agree with you about the underlying premise of the question and what has created it. The kidnapping and enslavement of people, and then denying their descendants through Jim Crow, redlining, segregation, and suppression that is alive and well in the United States of America today, the ability to fully participate in the greatness that their ancestors produced in the first place. I believe, and I follow the lead of others who worked on this issue like Sheila Jackson Lee, that having a reparations commission that brings everyone to the table to tell their story and the full story of this country is the best possible path forward to decide the answer to your question. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if it is a cash payment, what the amount is. I would much rather that we begin the conversation by listening to everyone, including you, to make that determination. And that in the meantime, we also look.
All right, fam. They running. That's what's happening. That's what you're seeing. And right now, I wanna bring the man of the hour on about that one. I don't know what he likes to be go by, but can you hear me, fam? JB? That's what I call. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, fam. I just played. I don't know whether you saw it, but I just played a compilation of your videos of you of the confrontations or it's really not a confrontation. You questioning candidates on this, and the Bernie one really went viral over the weekend. And one of the things that happened, before I get to all of the stuff that we just saw, one of the things that I want to address with you is what his campaign manager said. His campaign manager said, and you and I have you inboxed about it, but he said, I want everybody, I'm putting up here so everybody can see what he said about what went wrong in terms of why Sanders ran off. He said, if you had just said, I'd like to ask him a question about reparations and I have 2 phones, that wouldn't have been a problem. So, and then there was something about you having a pouch. So I want to ask you what, because we saw a lot in that video, but tell us what happened. And did you have a pouch?
First and foremost, no, I did not have a pouch. Well, first of all, what happened was, this was a town hall meeting in Florence, South Carolina. It was regarding Medicare for All.
Okay.
And it was in front of a performing arts theater in Florence, South Carolina. And what happened was they were holding it in the amphitheater that was directly in front of the Performing Arts Center. So it was an outside space, but it was like fenced off. So what you had to do is you kind of had to walk around. You had to park a certain place, and you had to walk kind of around the fenced off place to get through the entrance of the Performing Arts Theater to get to the amphitheater.
Okay.
So I went through there, and there was a checkpoint. And what ended up happening was I walked through the checkpoint, and I was able to go through the checkpoint because they were only searching people with bags.
Okay.
So I didn't have a bag, so I didn't have to be searched. So they let me on through. So they go, I go through the checkpoint, and at this time they're having a bunch of different speakers up there and talking about different things regarding healthcare and that sort of thing. They had a professor, they had a couple of politicians from the local area. So I'm waiting for Bernie to talk, and Bernie is able to talk. Bernie comes up, he does this little spiel about Medicare for All, what he wants to do, that sort of thing.
Okay.
One of the criticisms that I had levied against me regarding my approach was that I could have asked a question during the question and answer segment.
Okay.
The issue that I had with that was, it was my understanding that I was only allowed to ask questions regarding Medicare for All or something medically related. It wasn't until the end of, and I heard this from several staff members. So they actually were able to, you had folks up there asking different questions about Medicaid and about health and mental health and that sort of thing. It wasn't until the end of the Q&A session that I realized other folks started asking questions about different topics.
Yeah.
And by the time I realized that Bernie had said that, hey, these are the last 2 or 3 questions for the last 2 or 3 people in line.
Yeah, so you were trying to follow the rules.
Okay, well, I wasn't. Say that one more time?
No, I said you were trying to follow the rules. You thought it was just about health. You weren't going to ask a question about health. But then they stopped following the rules, you know, and then they stopped following the rules. And so you didn't know, though, that they were going to stop following the rules to the last 2 or 3 questions. But so I understand exactly what you're saying. And my second thing is, if you did not have a pouch, and the reason you went through security, you didn't have to go through the checkpoint that they had, is because you didn't have a bag. You know, if that's the case, then I think the Bernie Sanders campaign manager owes you an apology, because he has said something in terms of, you know, grab inside your pouch and verbally confront him, and you asked a question. See, I don't think people understand the difference between a question and a confrontation. He should you know, we should demand an apology from him, because that's not true. And this is a security problem too, if y'all are doing it this way. But let me let you finish, man, with what you were saying. This makes no sense so far.
Oh no, yeah, thank you. No, I was just gonna say that. So at the end of the Q&A segment, you know, pretty much everybody's dismissed. You know, everybody's getting up. One of the staff members gets up and gets on the microphone and says, "If you want to take a picture with Bernie, you know, get in line," and they show everybody what line to get into. So what ends up happening is, you know, all the folks are getting. I'm on my way out because I thought I missed my opportunity to actually talk to them.
Okay.
So I'm walking towards the exit, and then I realize that as he's taking pictures with folks, he is speaking with them and having full-on conversations with folks.
Okay.
That's basically what's holding the line up so long.
Okay.
So all right, so I guess I get a chance to speak to him. So I get in line. And I'm sitting here waiting the whole time. It's like a line that was like around the stage. It goes up into the back part of the stage, onto the stage itself. Okay. This is actually a long line. It's a thick line. It's a long line. It's a thick line. So that was another criticism that people were saying, was that I ran on stage, which is an absolute lie. I was in line with other people who were going on stage to take pictures and talk to Bernie. So I basically go up, you know, close to where Bernie is, and the staff people were saying, "Oh, you know, this is a selfie line. You know, you know." And I told him I didn't really want a selfie. I just wanted to talk to him about, you know, I had a question for him. I wasn't going to tell him it was about reparations, but I just had a question for him. And basically, they were like, "Well, you know, not going to have a whole lot of time to ask questions. But we can do a selfie." So I was like, "Okay." You know, I see all these other people asking questions, and I go up, so I give them I decided, okay, well, let me go ahead and give you the camera phone, you know, my phone. I always have another phone with me, Yvette. Okay. I always have 2 phones with me. Okay. For a number of reasons, because, you know, 2 iPhones with me, so in case one, you know, the battery runs out or the storage runs out whenever I go to these events. So I always keep an extra phone with me just in case. So as I'm handing them the one phone, I'm taking out the other phone and getting it ready so I can record. So what I was going to do is I was just going to have to take a picture of me asking a question of Bernie as I'm recording him, the same way you saw with the Beto award picture. So I'm getting ready for that. I'm already recording him by the time it's my turn to walk up and do the whole picture thing. Mm-hmm. The phone is already recording. Okay. So once he looks at me, he's expecting to do a selfie type of picture. And this particular phone that I had, I don't use it a whole lot because my other phone works fine. But I didn't have an opportunity to turn the lens on him. Okay. So that's why the lens was on me this time. Okay. So I didn't have an opportunity to turn on him, but I was asking him, hey, you know, I want to ask you, basically what you saw in the video is what happened from there moving forward.
Okay. Let me ask you.
Get approached by, I'm sorry.
No, let me ask you one question though, because what we saw in the pictures, what happened. Do you think they knew who you were? Because you've been at all these things and you outspoken about reparations. Do you think that somebody recognized you, or do you think it was just about they heard that reparations question and it clicked?
I think they may have. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't put it above them to have known who I was. I certainly wouldn't be able to say for certain. I know, you know, it was funny because I thought the same thing. You had played the Kamala clip. Uh-huh. She looked dead at me, turned around like she was talking to everybody else, but she looked dead at me, said hi, and then ran.
Yeah, she took off. She
damn near took off.
no. Kamala definitely knew who you were. That's not a question with her. Kamala Harris definitely knew who you were. Right? She looked at you. It clicked. There's no question in my mind that she knew. Like, there's no question in my mind that she knew exactly who you were. But my other question for you is this. What the campaign manager tried to say is that we thought it was a security threat. You had a pouch or something like that, right? Which was really just your second phone. And he made it sound kind of nefarious and dangerous. Once they realized that it was just a phone and that you were asking a question, did you get to come back and ask your question? Did they invite you back, or you were just gone?
Well, here's the thing, Yvette. I had already had the phone out by the time they had noticed me. Like, there was another person in front of me taking a picture, and during that time I had my phone out.
Okay.
So by the time that other person had finished taking the picture, I had already had my phone out. So there was no reason for me to have my hand in my pocket or anywhere else.
Okay.
I already had my phone out. It was not until I asked about reparations, as you can see in the video, that I got approached by his security. Now, to answer your other question, as far as me being able to go back and answer a question, this ties into another issue. No, to answer your question, no. The immediate answer to your question is no. I wasn't able to go back.
Okay.
But what was telling though was that I was escorted out of the premises through a gate. I guess one of the security guards started walking me towards the gate, and then another one started walking me towards the gate. And then a police officer, I guess the security guard told the police officer, yeah, he's being escorted out. So at the gate, the police officer stops, turns around, and walks away. I'm free to go to my car. Like, he doesn't even look back at me. So I'm walking to my car. I was able to get in my car, crank it up, and drive off.
Okay.
So if I was that much of a security threat, I would imagine I'd be stopped, and they just wanted me off the premises. That's all.
Well, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like, the security at Bernie's thing almost sounds like the police. The police always swear an iPhone is a gun or something else when it's in a black man's hands. What it sounds like, if you figure out that he's not a thing, then you should have been able to go back and do your selfie thing and have your conversation. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, what are some of the, like, even when we talk about it, what I'm trying to figure out is, what this kind, because let me just put this is how you know, and this is from a while ago, this is from another account. You know that the campaign manager in the Bernie camp isn't telling the truth just based on what happened before. They've done this before, where he's taking a picture with somebody, and that person starts asking about reparations, and he ducks and dives and dips. This isn't something that's new to him. Right? This isn't some type of new behavior for him. And so what we have is this campaign manager talking about, well, no, it was just, if you had said everything, blah, 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 that would have been cool. That's just, that. It sounds to me from what you're telling me that's just a bold-faced lie. Like, no, you weren't cool because this is not something that you want to address. I don't think if you had two phones and you had been talking about Medicare for all, or cancellation of student debt, or you had been thanking Bernie as opposed to challenging Bernie, that this would have happened. What do you think?
Here's the thing, Yvette. The guy who's the campaign manager, I had to look him up. That, what's his name? I don't even remember what his name is. But I had to look him up, and it was the same guy who, he actually had my phone in his hand. He was the one who was going to take the selfie.
Okay.
If I can recall, if it's the same person. It was the Indian guy who first walked up to me as I was kind of trying to put the camera on Bernie. It was that Indian guy.
Pakistan, but yeah, I understand.
It was, and I think he was the one who was asking, "Hey man, what are you doing? I thought you had wanted to take a picture." And basically, I got surrounded by other folks of color, and that's when the security stepped up. And and another thing, they didn't sweep Bernie away. Bernie was just standing there. As y'all can see in the video. Yeah. Bernie was just standing there. They weren't even paying attention to him. They was paying attention to me. Again, going back to this idea of me being a threat, I would imagine they would have had to, probably back him up a little bit. Hey, back up, stand back over here. So,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I said that's a good point. That's a good point. Like, let me just so that's a good point in terms of like if they really saw you as a threat. If they really saw, like, let me just hold on a second. Let's go back to the video, because I want to go back to the video for 1 second and just go to that part and look at it, because you're referencing it, and I just want to let people see it and go back to that part, see if we can go to that part, and I'm gonna come right back to you. Hold on 1 second for me, Jimmy.
Can I ask you a question about reparations, sir?
Sir. What are you doing, man? Sir. What are you doing?
Can I ask you a question about reparations? Sir, Sanders. Can you get off me? I'm walking. I can walk myself. Don't touch me. Senator Harris.
Okay, so yeah, I just played it again because you're referencing it, and I wanted people to kind of get a sense of it, right? So it's very interesting because when you say, can I ask you about reparations? I hear somebody, I don't know which one it is, somebody says, what is he doing? Right? It's not, hey, get off of him, or what is he pulling out, or what is he having in his hand? It's what is he doing? Like, in terms of that question, like, he's not supposed to be asking that question. That's if y'all saw it, that's what it was. Like, what is he doing? Like, why is he having this conversation? This isn't what I anticipated. See, you look very nice and very like you were finna come and have fun, you know. And yeah, you were finna say thank you for canceling my student debt, and then that didn't happen, and it looks like that was the problem. When you watch the video, I'm gonna look at the chat say you can't see. I don't think what people understand, fam, and this is what I took from the video. Like, not only when you talk about us building the country and everything we've done, like, we can't even be citizens in the sense of, and people say, what do you mean, Yvette? He got to go to the thing. No, you can't ask him about the stuff that's important to your life. Like, if you can't ask him about reparations, that means you can't ask him about being American. How? That's amazing to me. And so and so it's kind of interesting in that what's kind of interesting in that shot is how quickly they decided to escort you right off the premises. I think I saw somebody put their hands on you to pull you off. Did they put their hands on you?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
Yeah, they did. That's why at the end of the video, I kind of have the phone covered, but yeah, the two security guards had a hand on each arm, and you could hear me telling them that, don't touch me, get off me. And one of the security guards was like, walk, we'll just walk then, keep walking. So it was like, okay, again, if I was such a threat, why am I allowed to keep walking, right? So, yeah, they did put their hands on me, but I had to tell them to get their hands off of me.
Yeah, this is kind of this is kind of wild. Like, understand what we're saying. I think everybody needs to understand what we're saying. They put their hands on you for asking a question. And it wasn't an outrageous question. It wasn't an outlandish question. It was a question that's important to ADOS. This is what happens with ADOS when you go to ask a question that's specific to ADOS and the ADOS community, right? Now, if you had said, Bernie, thank you for Medicare for All, or Bernie, I don't know, maybe you want to do UBI, he would have given you an answer. But you get treated like a criminal when you ask a question about a specific policy agenda that is specific to us, and they put their hands on you and escort you off the premises like you were about to jump somebody. And then when they don't apologize, they don't let you ask your question, they come back and say, well, he had a pouch, and if he hadn't had a pouch or whatever, we would have just, what did the little man say? Let me pull this up again about the little campaign message, little story he told, because after it went viral, he had to talk about it. He didn't have any choice but to talk about it because he was forced. When you turn over one phone for a selfie, walk up to the senator and immediately grab inside your pouch as you verbally confront him, yeah, there will be quick action. Just say, I'd like to ask him a question about reparations and I have 2 phones. Would have been fine. What do you say to that?
Now, anybody can look at that video and clearly see that his interpretation of the events is an absolute bald-faced lie. Clearly, you can see that on the video. And it's interesting because, it's interesting that he would stoop to this level to try to cover himself and his candidate. I just found that very interesting. I thought it was very desperate. And I even called him out personally. I said to him, and I tagged him in Twitter, I said, "You are lying. Why are you lying? This is not true." And he never had a response to that.
Well, yeah, his response was the only response he gave. And because he just needed to give the Bernie people something to deal with. See what you see right here, like in this video. Like I'm finna put up a image. But you can see the phone right here, and so you know exactly what it is. You know what that is. When you look at this, and I look at your hand, there's no question about a pouch. Like he has one of the phones in his hand, and the other is filming. You know.
Right.
I don't understand. It's clear that there is nothing nefarious going on. Like when you look at that, there's nothing going on. There's nothing going on. You know, this is the campaign manager, this guy that we're looking at. That's him. So we're very clear. Like, what are you talking about? Well, it wouldn't have been a problem if. No, we know exactly they no pouch. We know exactly what it is. We know exactly what's in your hand. So how do you then go on Twitter and act like, you know, something else happens, or act like something happened that didn't happen? How do you do that? Where's the pouch in the video? I don't see no pouch. Like, I watched the video, we watched the video twice. This is the screenshot. Like, where is the pouch? I have not seen you go into it. Like, I have not seen, and even if, it's even racial disinterpretation. Even if because you said you gave him one cell phone and you had another cell phone, so you got two cell phones. Where is this imminent threat? Like, I don't see it in the video. I don't see it anywhere. I don't know what he's talking about.
Right, and the thing is, it's interesting because there would be no need for Shakir, whatever his name is, to do this if the video that I posted did not do damage to Bernie Sanders' campaign. I have every belief in my mind that this video either hurt the campaign or has the potential to hurt the campaign, and that's why he responded the way he responded. It was an act of desperation on his part. Like, let me get something out there. Let me get a narrative out there, and the sycophants will dive on it and come to ADOS. Hey, no, that's not true. This happened. You know, what you're saying isn't true. Even though it's on the video, what you're saying isn't true. You need to be careful. You can't run up on Secret Service like that.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
Run up on. I didn't see you run nowhere.
You get what I'm saying?
And
exactly.
And it's very interesting because I want to say this to people who be like, well, y'all should talk to him and y'all should talk to this candidate. Listen, we have sent, for the ADOS conference, we sent invites to all candidates, right? And so we all know we have Marion Williamson, but in terms of even we sent it to everybody though, right? Now we have received, like, and gone back and forth with some candidates, right? I'm not gonna get into it, but I'm gonna tell you something. Bernie Sanders just ignored it. Like, he didn't even reach back out. We had some candidates who were like, well, what time and what's going on? Like, no, he didn't reach back out. He just ignored the whole thing. So I think what he did right there in terms of ignoring you, that's emblematic of ignoring the whole group. We sent twice. We sent 2 invites. Hey, maybe you didn't get the first one. Hey, leftist who can only get elected, because ain't no Democrat that can get elected without the black vote, and you don't know if you got enough boomers who love Biden. So, like, hey, here we are, and he ignored it, and so I think that's the plan. I think the plan is we just gonna maybe say HR 40 and just ignore the whole thing. We're not gonna have a conversation. We're not gonna do any more of it, and that's why Kamala ignored you too. Like, that's why that happened. Right? She looked around, said, hey, recognize you, and made a beeline to the exit door. How do I get out of here? This Negro is asking about me doing something specifically for ADOS, and I already told him I ain't gonna do that. So I'm out of here. I think that's what I saw. So, fam, I wanna, when we talk, that's what the Kamala video was. And she's another one who ignored the invite. Let me tell all y'all who ignored the invite. Some of y'all, some of the people who I didn't ignore it, right? We've had conversations with a few camps. But those of you who, when you don't show up, if you don't show up, just let me tell you something. We're still in talks with some people. If you don't show up, that's part of the reason we haven't released the agenda yet, because we got to figure this out. If you don't show up, there will be consequences and repercussions at the ballot box, because you don't get to just ignore our demands. And you will say, well, I went to talk to another black group, but that black group ain't really talking nothing tangible. They just happy you showed up and hollered for the amen corner. You got to talk up to real people who are engaged, you know, because we're engaged. Like, we're an engaged group. We're not a group who just like, well, it sound all right. I went over there and he was real nice. We're a different kind of group. But if you can't show up for people who are demanding a real black agenda, who are demanding reparations, who are talking real data, who are talking real politics, if you can't do that, see, don't get mad at me when election day comes because I'm supposed to be your mule. If you were running away from JB the whole time, don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me if, like, we vote down ballot or something because you haven't responded. It's one thing to have a serious conversation, say, look, Yvette, we're going to wrap the reparations in, but it might not be as much first year. We're going to have to play this thing all the way through, all the way along. It's one thing. That means you want to do it. You're trying to figure out how to do it. Now y'all running. Y'all trying to figure out how not to do it. So I want to give you the last words that be on what you think this all means and where we go from here. And we just want to say, too, we appreciate what you've been doing. You've been going to all the town halls and asking people the questions that need to be asked. So I just want to say before you go, I appreciate you for doing that. And I want to give you the last word.
Well, I appreciate you, Yvette and Tone. And I appreciate all the Break It Brown family and Tone Talks family. And I want to say this. When Shakir dude, he posted what he posted on Twitter, and he posted that lie. I appreciate the fact that ADOS just came swooping in and started coming with the facts and coming with information and coming with the true narrative. So I want to say I appreciate that. I appreciate all y'all for having my back.
Absolutely.
So it means so much to me, and you have no idea how much it means to me. Me personally, I'm going to continue to fight. I'm going to continue to get in these, candidates' faces with my cell phone camera, and I'm going to continue to figure out ways to do that. Now, with that being said, I might have to switch it up a little bit. Might have to take some folks with me because I feel like I'm kind of marked at this point.
Yeah.
If I wasn't marked before, I'm definitely marked now because this thing has gone viral, and basically, so I'm going to continue to do. I might switch some things up, but I'm going to continue to do my very best to represent ADOS and get our agenda out there. So I want to say I thank you all.
Appreciate it, man.
This did a lot. I think this did damage to Bernie Sanders. I really do.
Yeah,
just my personal opinion. I may be wrong.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree, and I got your Twitter name up here. Hopefully, some people. What state are you in?
South Carolina.
Okay, so I got your Twitter up here, so maybe some people in South Carolina can switch it up, so it can be a different face. It won't be necessarily you since they recognize you, but y'all can be in it together. But like you switch it up because I know they recognize you now. Like you marked, so it's like there you come.
Exactly.
So, but no, man, I appreciate you, and I
appreciate y'all.
Thank you, fam.
Much respect to y'all.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for calling in and taking the time to do that. I know it's Labor Day. Happy Labor Day to everybody. I appreciate that. But this is doing the work, too, and this is Labor Day. That's what we do. So thank you, fam. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Yvette.
No problem. No problem. Fam, come on. I gotta, like, this is the best. When we talk about, like, he said, I'm in South Carolina. Like, and you see his, if you want to connect with him, you see up on my screen right now, his Twitter handle. But he says, I'm in South Carolina. And I don't think y'all understand, like, well, a lot of y'all do. Like, that's when we talk primaries, when we talk black people, they're going to be looking at that kind of to see who black people support and what they do. This is essential. This is real work. This is what has to happen. So if you're in South Carolina, please connect with that brother on Twitter because he's a marked man right now and kind of back him up. Like I said, he was just asking questions that we all need asked. And I appreciate him for being out there. Let me tell you, it takes a lot of courage to be out there by yourself with 2 cameras and everybody looking at you like you crazy and you the one asking the right questions. So you know, and we always online too, like we have his back in the streets like you do online, cause and we always have each other back. The ADOS swarm is unlike any other swarm. You come at one of us, we all swarm in, swoop right here. Where you at? It's like a bat signal. Once you do that hashtag, it's a bat signal. So I appreciate him. I appreciate everybody who is out here doing this work and who is positioning themselves as kind of like, you know, journalists. Because, you know, people got upset when I go at real journalists. People got upset when I went into Cole Hannah Jones. People got upset. And it's just, but I do it for a reason, because he shouldn't be out there like that. I appreciate him, but he shouldn't have to. He has to do it because we all got to do work, right? What happens though is you can't write something on reparation. You can't write something on race. And then when you have all these candidates running away from reparations, you should be there. Because see, he don't have, the reason they can treat him like that is because he don't have the backing of the New York Times or the Atlantic or whatever. You don't get to say, hey, I'm in favor of reparations and then run off. No, you don't get to do that. You're supposed to be there. You're supposed to be there talking about what comes next. If you're in favor of reparations, that's an action. See, he don't run out from you when you're from the Atlantic, when you're from the New York Times. He's not going to run out from you like that. He can't, because your perch is too high. And sometimes I think people have a perch, but they have power, but don't know how to wield it. So you got all this power and you're going to write something. I don't care what it is. I don't care whether you're at Slate or the Times or wherever you are. You're going to write something, but you're not going to do the work that comes after. Because see, y'all have expressed opinions. Y'all are not straight journalists in terms of like, we don't have opinions. We just unbiased news all the time. Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts. No, that's not who you are. You express opinions. But then really backing up that opinion and backing up that high salary is taking a strong position on something. Why don't some of y'all who are at the Atlantic and other places, why don't you, or Slate or Salon or wherever you are, who say you're in favor of reparations, why don't y'all ever show up? Why don't y'all ever ask the question? Do you know what it's like if that question had been asked by somebody who received the Genius Grant as opposed to my man JB? You know, they can't treat you like trash and kick you around like they can him. But that's what you got the grant for. The reason you get the $500,000 is so you can do stuff. You got a little wiggle room because you got a little money. That's why I get upset. That's why I get mad, because y'all, you can't just be like, well, I'm in favor of reparations. Is it just, really? Don't make no sense. Running around. And then the thing is, let me just say this too, because we have to say it. Some things have to be said. You know, we talk a lot, and we have talked a lot about... We talked a lot about everybody is trying to make us into something we're not. Just kind of based off, well, these class-based programs, they're going to fix race. And no, when you have race, actually destroys class for ADOS. So we don't have none of that, right? So really and truthfully, and we've seen class-based programs, we've seen ourselves as ADOS cut out of class-based programs. Class doesn't fix race. And we already talked about that. And we've already talked about why we don't trust it. But you also have to understand that you got to pay off your debts. You have to pay off your debts before you create new bills. So you have to pay off these debts, Bernie. You have to pay off these debts, Warren. You have to pay off these debts. These debts have to be paid. And when it's other groups, nobody has a problem understanding that we got to pay these debts off before we do these new bills. But the reason you see the college stuff and the college cancellation is because you want to know why? You want to know why you see a lot of that in leftist circles as opposed to stuff that helps poor and disadvantaged ADOS? It's because a lot of their leftist supporters have college debt. It's not just about them as individuals. Oh, somebody just told me the Genius grant now is $625,000. You got $625,000 and you can't talk? Cat got your tongue? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of everybody saying, yeah, they support stuff. And then I'm tired of people saying they support this kind of stuff, and then they don't want to go and ask the question of the candidate. And then you'll tell me, well, I'm just a journalist. We all have roles. No, you want to, everybody says that, and I'm tired of it. No, well, so he gets the hard role. He ain't got no resources. He ain't got no camera crew. He's just out here. So he gets the hard stuff, and you get the accolades. Not just me. I'm not talking about me as an individual. I'm talking about ADOS in general. All of y'all on Twitter, all of y'all showing up to events, all of y'all having meetings. We doing X, Y, and Z, and everybody else doing nothing. How you not sick of that? Don't tell me to be nice to nobody. For what? Ain't nobody being nice to us. Ain't nobody showing up and having our back. What you trying to do? And you have to understand. You have to understand who we are. You know, you have to understand who we are and where we've come from. And you have to understand what class-based policies do and what they don't do. So let's just talk about this very, very quickly. Even if you have a class-based policy that raises the floor, let's say, and I'm not opposed to, I am absolutely not opposed to a jobs, the jobs thing they do. What is it? Not the UBI. I don't like that. But the job guarantee. I'm not opposed to that. What I'm telling you though is that doesn't change the hierarchy. That doesn't change the lineage hierarchy in this country. That doesn't make us not on the bottom. So what happens is, and that doesn't make us not if you do it that way, it doesn't mean that, it means that we still don't become an ownership class. So you can get a job now making 15. You can get a job now making $15 an hour. You're still on the bottom though. You're still on the bottom though. So what good is it? Now, I'm not saying, I'm talking about priorities. What should happen first, second, and third. So you do reparations first. You pay your bills before you create new debt. First, second, third. And then we do the jobs guarantee. And we can roll all that stuff out together. We can do our stuff and start rolling it out. And then start doing your stuff. I'm open to having a conversation. But they're not. I'm not the one who's being disagreeable. Not at all. And, you know, the most interesting thing about this guy, you know, it's funny the thing that the Bernie camp says. The guy who said the stuff of what he said about JB and he had a whatever. He works for Bernie. I think he used to work for Nancy Pelosi. So he obviously doesn't have any kind of, he think progress. He doesn't have any kind of whatever. Like you're just a strong leftist. But you know, the funniest thing is he's the son of immigrants, Pakistani immigrants. And he'll work for Bernie and tell you something like, well, racial policies, you know, because this is what Bernie's campaign says, you know, we can't deal with race. We have to just go from now. We have to start from here. You shouldn't be worried about class. Don't worry about class because we're socialists or we're democratic socialists. We don't worry about that. But you look at that and you went to two of the most elite universities, Harvard and Georgetown in America. Don't tell me, please don't tell me not to worry about class and we're going to destroy class or whatever. We're going to go after the rich. You went to the schools that the rich people go to. If you went to the schools where all the rich people go, that tells me that you're a pretty class conscious person. You didn't go to what Bernie talk about. You didn't go to a public institution. That's not what you did. Of what he wants to do his stuff. You didn't do that. That's not what you did. You went to an elite school because you want an elite pedigree. But you want to tell me to get my reparations with a job guarantee. And mad when I tell you no. Mad when I tell you don't get to tell me what to do. You don't get to do it. You know, I want you to look at this. I want you to take a close look at this chart. Well, these. And you have to understand. They have 100 trillion and our bottom 90 has 700 billion. Even their bottom 90 has 25 trillion. Like, you look at the, I'm gonna bring up the first part first, the first chart first, and then I'll bring it up because I think it's hard for you to see like this. Splitting $100 trillion. Like, I want you to look at this first one. White wealth share by white wealth decile 2016. Splitting $100 trillion. These charts splitting $3 trillion. Listen, fam, let me tell you something. Each percent of the white is 1 trillion, and the black chart at each percent is 30. Listen. This is not enough to have a life. I don't understand what we're talking about. See, in order to make this work, your campaign manager shouldn't have gone to Harvard and Georgetown. Like, be real about your stuff and have them go to a public college. You can't come here, get to go to these elite schools, and then tell me what I do or don't get. Right? And you can't come here and tell me class doesn't matter when these are the schools that you went to. You can't do it that way. That's not how any of this works. You're gonna tell me my reparations comes with a $35,000 guaranteed job, as opposed to the instability of a $35,000 job that we got now. That's what you want to tell me, right? You want to tell me I can have a job at the nursing home rubbing feet. And that's not a bad job. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying, while you get to go and make all the money as a campaign consultant with your elite pedigree, you don't get to tell me anything. You don't even get to talk to me. I don't even know why you tweeted. Let me tell you, before I go, because we're getting a long time, the only way people say, well, we just all gonna be socialists now, and we're gonna raise the floor and everybody can have a life. The only way we get to start from zero is y'all got to give. Listen, white America, immigrant America, whoever you are, I don't care. If you access whiteness in a way, I don't care. You got to give it all back. So this GI Bill that we were left out of, give it back. And what that means when I say give it back, I don't mean write $100 check or $1,000 check or even $1 million check. I'm saying you have to give your life away, because your life is built on ADOS suffering, oppression, pilfering, plundering. You got to give your life back. I don't know how you do it. And there are some things that just can't necessarily even be given back. Like, we got a bunch of ADOS men in prison. Maybe your kid got to go to jail. Just go swap them out. And then we can start from zero. You take Chad, and we're going to swap Chad out with Malik, and we're going to swap them out. We're going to do a mass swap, and they all going to be in jail. And then you got to try to fix the ones who've been in jail. I don't know how we do that, but you got to give your life away. That's the only way we can start from zero. You got to give everything back. You got to give it all back. Because we're in a situation like we look at now. When you look at it, it says Hispanic Americans moving up the income distribution across generations. Hispanic Americans are upwardly mobile, while Black Americans and American Indians are not. Been here 400 years and you still on the bottom, and you want to talk to me. You just got here. Your parents just got here, and you work for Bernie, and you want to tell me what I should have did. You want to tell me how to access my politician. How? What are we allowing to happen? This is life. Black Americans make much less money than their white peers. We know that, but just so we know, just so we see it, let's just do a quick review. Let's just do a quick review. White family wealth is nearly 7 times greater than the black family wealth. Let's just do a quick review so we understand each other. They want you to forgo all of that so that you can have a job that pays 15. You never have ownership. Now they'll have ownership just like the Jacobin magazine. The founder, co-founder, that he lives in like a nice little apartment in New York, and he's smiling, but he wants you to like, no, you can't do that. We have to let go of this idea. Let me tell you, for all of these people, this is all theory. It's a job and it's theoretical, and they're going to make money and they're going to make a name for themselves. And I don't think half of these people are interested in really what we're going through and how we're living. I think you're going to make a name for yourself. That's why you went to Harvard and Georgetown, child. You ain't fooling nobody. If you really had leftist politics, you would say, listen, I'm going to take my stuff to a public college and I'm still going to be successful and I'm going to use that to, you know what you did and you know what you're doing, and I don't know who you think you're fooling, and I don't know what you think you're going to tell me about what should happen, how it should happen. You don't get to talk. Like, I mean, just it's insane. Black kids are more likely to grow up in poor neighborhoods than they were decades ago. Understand what that means. Like decades ago, so we're more likely to grow up in poor neighborhoods than decades ago? Come on. Like, how has all of ADOS America not sounded the alarm? This is serious. Still got school segregation. Who knew? And so when you talk about canceling out college debt, the college education gap still remains very large. So you're going to do a white wealth transfer. That's what I'm hearing. Because that's what you're doing. This whole cancellation of the college cancellation, even very poor people on Medicaid most of the time. When you talk about the very poor, what you're doing is a wealth transfer that benefits for the most part the white middle class, and telling me, no, hush, you be all right. Get over there and shut up. We don't want to hear about your issues. And I don't believe in a fix for you. I would never tell that to any other group that's gotten reparations, but for you, I'm gonna tell you that because you don't matter. And it's not because we haven't been voting, or y'all don't get out to vote. The black voter turnout has generally trended up for the past couple of decades. Look at incarceration. You gonna switch that out? Y'all gotta you gotta give it all back. All the wealth that you plundered. Like all the wealth that was taken out of black communities, ADOS communities, because white mobs got jealous. We're going to have to trace all that. Y'all going to have to get y'all whole lives back then. Get a house, get a cars, get a pensions. If that's the only way. If you don't want to do it this way, you got to just give it all back. Then once you give it all back and you give your life away, then we can start from zero and talk about class-based policies. How we got cut out of the New Deal. Like if you got the New Deal while we were cut out, you got to give all that back. We got to trace the wealth and what that led to. You got to give it all back. That's the only way these class-based policies work, is if you give it all back. And y'all ain't giving it all back, so we ain't giving up the vote. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. So we're at that point, fam. Give me a couple of minutes, and I will be back, and we will have the conversation. I'm interested to hear what y'all have to say about what you saw. So in the video and where we go from here, because all these candidates seem to be just like, well, if I don't talk about it, it's not gonna matter. And y'all, some of these people who these Biden, how are you still a Biden supporter? I can understand how we still dealing with Bernie. We're gonna have to deal with that too. But how are y'all still boomers? I didn't bring up the article because I didn't have time to talk about that, but I had a whole nother section. So we'll be right back, fam. All right, fam, we are back. So I am going to go to my first call. I'm going to 323. 323, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? Uh-oh. Something done happened with the thing. Give me 1 second. Uh-oh. Give me 1 second, fam. I tell you the truth. Something done happened. Something always happen. But such is life. Let me put some beats back on and get this back going. Give me 1 second, fam. What happened with the phone?
Thank you for calling Call-In Studios host and call screener line. Please enter your show number and press pound. Thank you for calling Call-In Studios host and call screener line. Please enter your show number and press pound. You did not enter a show number. Goodbye.
All right, fam. Let's try it one more again, as the old people say. 323. Let me try to bring you in again. 323. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Calling from California.
What's going on?
Okay. Not much. How are you?
Pretty good.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if you will allow me to do some constructive criticism about ADOS real quick.
Really quick.
Respectfully, because I'll say this: what the brother JB did was great, but unfortunately, to me, on the outside looking in, that was a PR move only. Because if he was serious, he would have been asking questions, standing his ground, kicking, screaming until they drug him away in either handcuffs or whatnot. Because the message is more important than being allowed to speak. He asked for permission to speak. He should have just said what he had to say and got it on the record. So what I see is he wasn't serious. That was a PR move to get exposure for ADOS. Now,
when's the last time? I'm gonna let you talk. When's the last time you asked a question somebody dragged you away? When's the last time you did that?
The thing is, if anybody shows up to a candidate unannounced, they're going to be dragged away because of the heightened sense of security these days.
You're making stuff up. You're making stuff up. You're making stuff up. You're just making stuff up. Have you worked for a campaign? That's not what happens.
Really.
That's not what happens. Don't people? That's not that high security doesn't mean people just get dragged away if they show up. First, see, you said two different things that makes me think you're kind of crazy. Because you first said he should get dragged away. Then the second thing you said was, well, the heightened security means you get treated that way. Which one is it? Like, I don't.
Okay, they both go one and the same. Okay, But that's not the point, Miss Cornell. What I'm trying to say is this, respectfully, and all due respect, sister. Now,
People crazy.
if you don't answer my questions, it's like Bernie running from questions. Anybody with an agenda kind of.
I'm not a candidate. I'm not a candidate. I'm not running for anything. I'm not running for president. I don't. You call a call-in show. It's not the same thing. Even your analogies are bad.
I understand, but the only thing.
No, I'm sorry. I tried. She's a moron. I tried. Like this, I'm not your candidate. How do you not understand the difference between running for president and running for and me having a call-in show? You want to criticize me, but ain't nobody dragged your old butt nowhere. You don't show up for nothing. And then you say, well, if he was serious, he would have did that while you sit on your living room couch watching TV. And you want to call in and criticize that man. This man's been running around from place to place to place to place to place, asking all the candidates, and you ain't did a goddamn thing, and you don't care. But you want to call in and criticize. That's the problem. You want to call in and criticize somebody else's work when you don't do anything. You don't lift a finger. You don't lift a finger to help nobody. Don't call in here no more. Don't you call in here ever again. Don't call in here again. I'm tired of people who always want to criticize people who are doing the work, but they don't want to do anything. When I asked you when the last time you were dragged off somewhere, what you were supposed to say was, I got dragged off last week. I was at a protest and I stood my ground. I had 10 toes down. They had to drag me off. Then I would say, okay, I think you did it wrong, but I understand. You have a different way of doing things. You don't mind spending time in jail. Okay, that's different. That's not what we're doing here. We could have talked about it, but you don't do nothing. You don't do anything but criticize. You don't do anything but just sit around and be just the weirdest thing. And he did it respectfully. Like, you have to do this respectfully. You don't jump and you don't jump in and do something stupid that destroys the optics for ADOS. If you do something stupid, what happens is everybody says, see, I told you these ADOS people crazy. I told you they morons. He just asked consistently, reparations, 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 reparations. And he did it respectfully. Senator Harris, can I ask you about reparations? Senator Harris, repeatedly, but respectfully. You sound like a provocateur. You sound like a provocateur. He should have got dragged off, and that's what it'd be. It'd be security, like you know something. You don't know nothing. I'm going to my next call. I'm going to 301. 301, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? Are you there? Ain't nobody got time to play tonight, people. 773, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
John from Chicago.
What's going on?
Oh, ain't nothing going on, Yvette. Long time no talk to. Good to hear you.
Good to hear you too, bro.
Yeah, I think people don't realize that this is the most consequential work since the civil rights movement of the 60s. And to have a brother get out there and do the work as is constantly preached by the creators of ADOS, God bless you and Tom for that, Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore.
Thank you, fam.
We just appreciate you. But to have someone call in and think that getting loud and belligerent and acting a fool is going to somehow get you in the room is utterly ridiculous. You know, we have to use tact. This is a time where we must think when we are in those spaces. Just like you just mentioned a minute ago, the young lady who did and hey, good work, good history lesson, 1619 to 2019, great history lesson. But as you stated last week, you walk all the way up to the line and then fumble the football. When you need to be full-throated, and the reason you need to be full-throated is because you have the opportunity to get into the room. As you stated earlier, you did an article with the New Yorker. You may be in USA Today. Whatever the situation is, you have an opportunity and you have the ears of the candidate. And at that point, you should be full-throated about reparations. I'd just like to make one other point, Yvette.
Sure.
That point is, Senator Claiborne has to be, I'm sorry, Congressman Claiborne has to be primary. This guy's he's a shameful person. He's in South Carolina, the history of South Carolina, everything that took place in South Carolina. And you have, apparently he's getting money from donors or whatever the situation may be. But I'm ashamed of that man. My God, I don't know. Thank you, Yvette, and thanks for providing this platform.
No problem. I appreciate you for calling in, fam. And let me just say one thing. Let me just say one thing to the hot house flowers in the chat. Can we talk to the hot house flowers? Oh, Yvette, you shouldn't have said that. You said she's a moron, and that's just wrong. Let me just say this. How is that your focus? This woman just called in and said something that could get us tagged by the FBI as extremists because she said you have to get dragged out of stuff. So what happens if ADOS start listening to her and start getting belligerent and halfway fooled and dragged out of stuff? Do you understand that jeopardizes everything we're working for, and you worried about somebody being called a name? Like, I really wish, like, this is a live show. Sometimes it comes up, it comes out. That's just what it is. You're going to have to be grown and deal with it. But that's what she was. You don't call in here and jeopardize everything by saying if he was serious, he would have got dragged out of there. That is everything. If people start acting and behaving in ways that she instructed us to behave, that endangers everything that we're doing. But you're worried about name calling. Listen, all the hothouse flowers need to leave the greenhouse. We don't have time. If you get a little heat and you need a swooning fan or a fainting couch, then maybe this ain't for you. Maybe you just take up gardening as a hobby and just opt out. That's what half of y'all do anyway. Like half of the people who are supposed to be helping, I know the names of the people who help. I know all of them. I see the pictures of the people who do who are out here in the streets, the people who are on Twitter. I know your names. I know your Twitter handle by heart. But all this stuff where these people come in and, well, you just can't say that. No, for what? She came in here and tried to ruin everything that we do. Who says that? Who tries to get people locked up? You are trying to get us locked. You know what happens when ADOS people start going our place and getting locked up? Do you know what that looks like for what we're trying to do here? We have behaved very respectfully. We have kept our hands to ourselves. We have asked questions that should be asked. And so because of who we are, we know if somebody goes out and does it differently, they are a provocateur. If anybody listens to this woman who probably ain't never been nowhere, never did nothing, because when I asked her, she couldn't say nothing, we all in trouble. And you're more concerned that she got called the name that fit her. Don't nobody do that stuff. Don't nobody go in something intending to get dragged out and make a scene. And they writing all about you in the Washington Post and the New York Times about how you came in and you were belligerent and horrible. We already got enough slander on us to not put it on ourselves. Don't make no sense. And that's what should be focused on. How you call her a name. Oh my God. Give me a break. Anyway, I am going now to 904. 904, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Yeah, I'm David Moment. From Jacksonville, Florida.
What's going on?
Again, I like to say I'm so sorry about that lady that did what she did. That was totally, and we're not in that type of position. It's kind of like criticizing the commando for getting you out of a situation, but you didn't have tea at the end once you got you out. One or two small things. If they really don't want to pay the reparation thing, but to a degree, what it's going to do for them is just building up a whole bunch of weird karma. Like to a degree, that's why they stuff. Like with their finances, they can't get it right, even though they cook the books and they allow them to cook the books. So even though they dissing us, it'll be easy to just cut the check. And I'll go ahead and hand it back to you.
Appreciate it, fam. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it.
Okay.
And you know what? I'd be more than happy to I'd rather take criticism of me than of my people out here doing good work. Especially like if you like this man's been I don't know. It's just the most insane thing to me. Let me go to another call. 310, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Yes. Hello,
turn down your background a little bit.
There's no background. Okay. Yes, my name is Stephen.
Hey.
me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's going on? What's on your mind?
Okay, great. I want to commend you and Antonio for what you guys are doing. I've done a lot of work here in LA with the African American Political and Economic Institute, which is like a black think tank, and we've had funding from the states from Irv Dimely in regards to a whole lot of issues here in LA. When it comes to reparations, what I find our politicians do is they romance the community about reparations as opposed to doing anything about it, just as what you're going through now by them running from the questions and so forth. But when they want to get elected, they kind of lie and start using that. During the Million Man March, Silas Muhammad wrote the petition, I think it's 1503 against the United Nations for reparations for African Americans. He wasn't allowed to speak at the Million Man March, but he had an agenda. He had a petition, and I was wondering if that's something that maybe you and Antonio could actually put together and start disseminating or having people try to file that. I need somebody to explain the legalese double talk when it comes to the 14th Amendment, Section 4. Because it's not quite clear if America found an scapegoat as to how not to pay us reparations. So I'm not sure, since I'm not a legal mind, but I think it would actually kind of give us a little more understanding of what the legalese is about it. And since you've been in Capitol Hill, and like I said, Antonio is an attorney here in LA. Which I haven't been able to reach out to him. But I've been thrown out of plenty of meetings. I've been walked around with questions pertaining to reparations. And like I say, between the Harper magazine with the case for reparations, where all of the legal attorneys' minds have actually spoke on it and written about it before Mr. Coates. And with the petition from Silas Muhammad, there's enough information because I was frustrated with H.R. 40 because it's just a study and it's not going to go any further than that. But I'd like to take answers up here and keep up the fight here the next generation. And we do need to get compensated for it, but I'm just curious about this 14th Amendment, Section 4.
Okay, thank you, caller. I appreciate it. I'll look into it. I don't know enough to really give to let you know now, but I'll look into it. I appreciate it. Let me see. I'm trying to get the people who have called the least. Everybody in is like a recent caller. 301. Let me see. Let's stay with this. Okay, 301. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Yvette, how you doing? Calling from the DMV.
What's going on?
What's going on, sister? Oh man, I was looking at the telecast tonight, and first of all, if he's still on the line, salute and shout out to Mr. Fowler for the work that he has done. It has not gone unnoticed, and I'm so glad that at the end of your conversation that he stated he's going to need to start switching up his approach with these candidates, and that go for kind of protection. What he needs in the future. In seeing some of his videos in the past, he's so brave and going there by himself, and I was always thinking to myself, this brother needs to make sure he's got like a hedge around him because he's going to get marked. And sure enough, he recognized that right now. So if you're still listening, brother, good work. Thank you. It's not going unnoticed. You are definitely repping for ADOS people, and we appreciate you. Flack as he may be. So many people in his corner.
You're breaking up a little bit, fam. You're breaking up a little bit for me.
Yeah, I quickly wanted to say that right now, what we all need to understand is that what Mr. Fowler is doing is more of what we have to do. I think, I hate to say it, but our reporter class, you have brought it up brilliantly with what's happening with our journalists such as Joy Reid and Roland Martin, how they're not asking the questions that are pertinent to ADOS. And so if we're going to lean on our writers, especially our black ones, to ask the questions about ADOS, we're going to get in the mud. We're going to be, if we're leaning on them to ask the pertinent questions that are for us. out there right now with this heavy, this early campaign right now at the end of the year. Many of these writers are looking to receive awards in the coming at the beginning of the year, and they're going to be looking to write you know, when you went in on Nicole Jones, you said, and I felt for you when you said, we're dealing with all the stress and all the hang-ups and all the pressure and all this stuff, and you all run off and get Pulitzers. I felt for you there, because, damn, you said exactly what a lot of people think, even though
you breaking up.
What do we get for creating this country? And the sad thing is, you're not going to get anything if you don't demand it, you know. So I just wanted to call in tonight and you know, give that brother some props and to just tell you to keep going and understand we are going to have to quest. Not going to understand, y'all. Not only 10 major papers in the country. Most of these papers are on their death knell. They're not making the money that they used to make. So, of course, you have the big boys. Here it is, Washington Post. You got the New York Times. Down south, you have the Houston Chronicle, Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the Miami Herald, West Times.
You breaking up for me, fam. I appreciate it, fam. You're breaking up a little bit for me, but I appreciate you calling in. Just keeps breaking up for me. Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's true. Like the point of being that reporter, like if you're there, like you're supposed to, like if you write on race, like if you cover, like you gotta ask about this. Why is this just us? What's the point of, like, you know, it's funny, we want to celebrate like ADOS reporters and black reporters in the room and all that, but what's the point if you can't be black? Like, what's the point of like being ADOS if you can't be ADOS when it matters? And what do you get rewarded for being that if you can't do it in a way that benefits? You don't think when Ida B. Wells and other people was writing, they was writing to benefit people, not just to tell white people history, but to like make it matter in the lives of ADOS. That's why if you write about it and you don't write about it in the context of what we need and what we're owed, then what good are you if you can't write about it that way? If you can't write about it that way, if you can't write about it in a way where you put a demand on America, right? In terms of this is what we're owed. What is the point of what you just wrote? You walked up to the line, but you didn't walk over it. I need you to walk over it. And the reason why I get so upset, and you say, why are you so rough? Because you walked up to the line, you didn't walk over, so I pushed you over. So what? What else am I gonna do with you? You stopped too short. I'm going now to 919. 919, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Yes, this is Vanessa from North Carolina.
What's going on? I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm awesome. Just want to thank you for all your hard work. Just want to kind of emphasize and point out a few things that I've noticed with some of the candidates, with most of the candidates. They always make like a generalization when anyone asks them about the black agenda. So first they will state prison reform, because as they go to response. And then there's a second, people of color. So when they do that people of color, you know, black people at the last bottom, so they got to do that melting part, that melting pot. So that's what I've noticed. It's never a black agenda. And even when reparations come up, reparation always come in the form of, well, what we need to do is get rid of red line. Well, of course, we need to do that. We need to make college education affordable, but it's never anything specific that targets black people, American descendants of slaves. You notice that's never the case. And I noticed that about Bernie Sanders, and I also noticed that about what's her name, Kamala Harris. She does that also. All of them does that, and it drives me insane because no one can pinpoint. I mean, you have actually reported some who was bold enough will say, "Hey, agenda for American descendants of slaves, or they think for blacks. What is your agenda?" Well, we're gonna make sure that everybody's loan is taken away. That's not gonna help blacks. That's not gonna help American descendants of slaves. it's more detail that we need, and I feel like these politicians right now, especially the Democratic Party, is not giving us what we need, and that's my biggest fear and disappointment. I know the Democratic Party is no different than the Republicans, but geez, all the support that the Democratic Party has been right on the blacks, especially of African American black women, it's just insane that we still to the point of people of color, not the Pacific, for American descendants of slaves.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I don't even understand how you are how you are like the bone. We are of this party, like we have been, and I'm not saying that things aren't changing, but I don't see how you do that, and you won't even allow us a specific ask. Like when he ran, like understand when Bernie ran away from JB, he wasn't running away from JB. He was running away from race. That's what he was running away from. He was running away from race. He wasn't running away from one black man. He was running away from race. And that's what America's always done. So don't tell me that you're somehow different or somehow radical when you are doing the same thing America's always done, which is run away from race. You are running away from race. You don't want to deal with it. You don't want to fix it. Well, that's not good enough, though.
Exactly. And I think right now, it's hard questions are being asked. And I'll take that back. I don't even think it's hard questions. We deserve reparations. We built this country.
It's a debt.
Why is it like obscene for black people to ask something that's owed to them? And that we should not. And then you have some black people, I call them pseudo, that will make you feel guilty. It was like, well, if you don't vote for Bernie Sanders or you don't vote for Elizabeth Warren, Trump's going to be in office. Well, Trump's going to be in office.
Nobody ever says that though. Like,
so we're going to choose the lesser two evil?
Because here's the thing. We are voters. That means we get to have voter expression. Like really, you're suppressing our voter expression by not letting us have an agenda. What you're basically telling ADOS that you don't get to have an agenda. We just want you to vote. You can't go nowhere. We know you're not Republican. Republicans have been horrible. They've gutted you like Trump. Trump's budget has gutted us, gutted all of our program. So y'all can't go with Trump and vote for Trump, and we can't. So if we can't vote for Trump and we're anti-Trump, and we are, like then the problem becomes, well, where do we go? Well, we're going to do something else because we can't keep doing what y'all say do because class doesn't fix race. And y'all run off. Like, understand how disrespectful it is to not stay there and engage. Not saying you have to engage for a long time, but to not engage and to not be dismissive of our concerns and still expect us to show up to vote. And we're not asking for reparations because we're upper middle class and we just want more. No, we're drowning out here. And you don't even want to talk? For real? Are you serious?
It's disrespectful, and I think, Yvette, I thank you so much for all your work because you really, and others, of course, so please forgive me, but I didn't name the others who've been involved in this movement. But I want to thank you guys because you really have opened my eyes. I didn't realize I was broke.
Most of us don't.
Realize it.
Most of us don't.
You really don't realize it. You really don't realize. You're like, you know what? I'm broke.
Yep. I ain't got no money.
Something.
Not no American money.
Really don't dawn on you.
Yeah, because we didn't know the data. And not only did we did not know the data, like we don't know the data and we don't see how people live who have money. Because we're ADOS. We're around other ADOS. So everybody we know like feel like they got money and they ain't got money. So we don't know. We feel like until you look at data and be like, nah, this, I shouldn't even like, in the rich country in the world that I built, like a lot of people don't have to really, and not like super elite, but a lot of upper middle class, they don't even really be thinking about money like that. Like they just walk in, they don't walk into a restaurant and look at the check and think about what's in their checking account and what covers what. They don't live like that. Like when you think about how you live, you just see, oh no, people don't check their account like that. And get nervous when they get alerts. That's us. Like, that's because we've been made a bottom caste in the richest country in the world. Like, come on. You have white poverty. One of the most interesting things, and I bring this chart up a lot, people like, well, white people are poor too. Yeah, that's true. But one of the things that you find is that white poverty is not black poverty. It's not ADO. It's not the same thing. So one of the things that I hope this show has done, and I hope Tone Talks has done, what we do is like to show you that like we're a bottom caste. We're different from every other group. We're different from everybody. And that comes from all the way from slavery to here. And the only way you fix that is to fix race. And it's a lineage issue. It's not even a real race issue. It's a race before you get other people of color. But it's all the way to slavery. We have to fix that if we don't fix this problem. I don't know what you're talking about with your UBI or your job guarantee. We can do that too, but you gotta do this. There's no way for us unless you do this.
Well, thank you so much, Yvette. I'm going to let you have another caller, but thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate you calling, fam. I appreciate it. I am going to go to my next caller. I am going to go to 651. 651. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Peace. This is Trey calling from Minnesota. First of all, I just want to thank you and Tone for bringing this to light and putting this out there. You guys have done a great job.
Thank you, fam.
And I'm very, very proud of you. I'm with the Green Party, so a lot of things that some people in the Green Party say we don't, the Black Caucus doesn't agree with. But I want to talk about just real quick, free health care is going to be something that's going to be coming up next.
Mm-hmm.
And we had free health care before in slavery. It was kind of free, but it still doesn't address race. So you can get free health care, but if the doctor's still racist or they're still doing experiments on us, for example, in slavery, if we would try to run away, they would diagnose us with something called drapetomia.
I remember that.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. So, and they would say we're mentally ill. So I think it would be kind of similar today that we would still get even if healthcare was free. I even took like my mother to the hospital, and the way she was treated was horrible. And she has healthcare and what have you. So even if we get free healthcare, it's still not going to address the racial disparities and how we're treated in the medical community. So I just, if you guys could be aware of that coming up in the next couple of weeks.
And you know, let me say something else, fam. They'll do something like everything's so slick with class-based stuff too. Like they'll do something like do Medicare for all, but then they'll say like, well, we're not gonna get rid of private insurance, right? So like Medicare for all is like the base, and if you want extra, you got to go and buy a private policy to supplement, and like all the other stuff. And so like you'll still be on the bottom. Like it doesn't fix us being on the bottom. They raise the bottom. See what class-based policies will do is raise the bottom, but we'll still be on the bottom. So whereas now you make 35, you might make 40 and it's more stable, or you make 20, you might make 30 and you're more stable. You're still on the bottom though. Like Bernie's campaign manager still like he's still 6 figures. He's gonna do his thing or whatever because he's gonna be moving. He's Harvard, Georgetown. You're still on the bottom, and you still don't have enough to be to own anything because I haven't seen anything to where they're gonna be like socialist where the state. I haven't seen anything like that. So everybody's still gonna own. Everybody else is still gonna own everything. Not us, because we built the country, but we still not gonna own anything. We still not gonna have no land. We still not gonna have any of the stuff that's owed to us. Like, how is that not a problem? But they running.
It's a very big problem, and thank you guys for doing what you're doing.
Appreciate it, fam. I want to thank you for it. I appreciate you calling in. I'm going to the next call. I am going to 817. 817, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
How you doing, Sister Yvette? My name is Avery, calling out of Fort Worth, Texas.
What's going on?
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. I got on. But real quick, I'm not going to take too much of your time. I got 2 questions for you. So the first question is, what are some practical things I can do to begin the collection process as far as reparations and begin to educate my people in my community? Fort Worth is basically, Democratic, the old school Democratic, and all of that. So the talk of reparations is, I actually knew my homeboy, my classmate, he ran for city council and he ran for mayor.
Okay.
And I talked to him and I asked him, I was like, yo, like, I'm not gonna lie, like I didn't vote for you because I didn't hear a black agenda. I didn't hear nothing, so I'm trying to work with him and stuff like that. So anyway, that's the first question. Second question the immigrant class to replace ADOS in terms of becoming the largest supporters of the Democratic Party. Because I see that, of course, we all saw the first two debates, and they was getting Beto O'Rourke, he was getting his Duolingo on, and Cory Booker, they was, speaking Spanish all day. So it seems like they're catering to that party, and they're kind of just sweeping us on the rug. So that's all I had. Hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate Tone and everybody that's listening. Let's keep up the good work, y'all.
Appreciate it, fam. I think here's the thing. I think part of the problem is, like, you can't go, like, I hear some people be like, well, we could just be Republican. No, you can't. Like, it's especially not in the era of Trump. You can't, because I'm not saying that they're not Republicans. I've heard from some black Republicans who say I agree with reparations. Like, I've heard them. I'm not opposed to them. I've had them reach out to me, and I appreciate that. And I think we all got to stay on code with this. I don't think we can just be anti-black Republicans. But that's not the Trump party. The Trump party the Trump Republican Party has decimated us. Like, I don't know how we come back from, like, the budgets, right? So the thing is, I think we got to stop with the idea that we can run from the Democrats to the Republicans. No, we have to do something differently in how we deal with the Democrats. Like, how we deal with them has to be different. Whether we vote down ballot, how we challenge them, how we like how JB challenged them, how we challenge them, how we just don't go along to get along, how we have to have specific stuff, not just for class, but specific action for us, especially, and I'm saying this, like, listen, I would benefit, like, as college grads, we would all benefit of something if we still got student loans, right? From Bernie's student loan cancellation. But I know, like, most ADOS didn't go to college. So, like, only less than 20%, you have over 20% of blacks. Once my ADOS, most of us don't go to college. So I'm not speaking in terms of my own. I'm speaking in terms of, like, the group. This is not something that helps the group. This is not the deal. In terms of what helps us in the majority. A job guarantee, that's great, but you still got to do reparations, so we're still on the bottom. We're on the bottom with a jobs guarantee. A jobs guarantee to have a job that still is not the job that everybody else got. Everybody else is still living the life of Riley, and we still haven't gotten paid for the debt that is owed. That's kind of where we are. So I want to go to my next call. I am going to go to 336. 336, what's your name? Hold on. 336, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, yeah, this is Marcus. I'm from North Carolina.
What's going on?
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, I love your show and everything like that. And
appreciate it.
Just speaking on what the topic was today, I mean, it just feels like modern day slavery, to the point where we're not even given a voice, or our voice is ignored. Like, how can we feel like we're a part of the democratic process if we get ignored by every candidate who's supposedly be in our corner?
Yeah, that's true.
And then another thing is, like, because I had listened to your show before, like, are we gonna get to a point where we don't even, like, look at the Urban League and NAACP anymore? Because I mean, it was already documented that they were infiltrated, right? So, I mean, by this time, I mean, it kind of feels like they're fully dominated, by white supremacy. So I was wondering, like, are we going to start, like, I mean, even if we got to take it to an approach like the Black Panthers, like, do we just need to set up our own facilities and utilize the resources that we have within each other? Because I mean, it looks like we can't depend on them.
Carla, I want to thank you. I'm gonna answer this offline. I want to thank you, but I really appreciate the question, because I've alluded to this before, and at the conference I'm going to go into something. Antonio and I are going to go into something about what's the next way forward in terms of dealing with the groups, that are supposed to represent us but are not representing us. So we are going to go into a project for how we deal with these groups and how we move forward. because we have to move forward. That's what we have to do. So we're going to go into that, but we're going to go into that at the conference. So I don't want to reveal too much, but we're going to go into it in the conference about what we do about this, because something has to be done. I am going to my next call. It might be my last call because I said I was going to get out of here a little early. I am going to 803. 803, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
I am
Turn your background down. Turn your background down.
803, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Sorry, 803. I cannot. I am going now to 929. 929, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, this is Bernadette. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
You're good?
I'm doing pretty good.
That's great. I'm calling in just to say I saw the whole video with JB, and it's a shame how they treated that young man. He didn't do anything wrong. He asked a valid question. He got treated as if he was a daggone terrorist, and it don't make no sense.
Yep.
I understand that they may not have wanted him to ask that type of question, but the way that they treated him, I feel like they owe the Bernie Sanders campaign owes him an apology, a serious one. Because if they did that to him, it was in reference to us.
Yep.
So, in other words, they just disrespected us straight up and down, and it was uncalled for the way that they treated him. And I felt bad for him, and I appreciate all the work that he has done, and a lot of other people are doing that we may not even know about, but it was just wrong. It was straight up and down wrong, and that's all I called to say.
I appreciate it, fam.
About that gentleman.
And I appreciate it. And you said, thank you. And you said something that was very important I think people need to pay attention to. You said, like, we have to see ourselves, right? And that's true. Like, they're not just doing that to him. They're not just doing that to him because he's whatever. No, they're doing it to you. They're doing it to me. They're doing it to Tone. They're doing that to all of us. Because that's how they see us. Look, these people, like, what they doing? Like, they call, man, what's up with this? Like, we're not going to deal with this. Like, you know, Tony and I had a reporter tell us, like, these people hope you just go away. Like, they tired of dealing with y'all. That's what it is. It's not just him. That's what the first caller got wrong, which was so annoying. It's not about him or what he did or how he did it. It's about who he is and what he represents. It's about who we all are. And not wanting to deal with our issues. Bernie don't have a problem spending a lot of money. He's got a problem spending a lot of money on us. All kinds of plans to cancel debt and do all kinds of things, but not spend money on us. I don't know how, like, I don't see how that's so complicated to so many people. I don't like this whole thing where we just want to blame ADOS first. Well, see what he should have did. She should have just talked to him and see, put him to the side, and he have just put one pocket out and then not the other pocket out. He would have been in there. You see, he messed it up. He just messed it up. No, I ain't got time for that. So, fam, again, I think we're at the end of this show, fam. I appreciate, I want to thank JB for calling in. I appreciate it. I appreciate him telling us because he's been doing the work. And like, you can't criticize somebody who's doing the work if you don't do no work. Like, if you're not doing nothing. If you don't do, I mean, if you're not even doing nothing on social media, at least be on social media. Some people have started their own channels. Wonderful. Great. I love it. I think we should have a robust political space where more ADOS people are on YouTube and elsewhere discussing politics. Call in, shout it out. We should be doing all of this. Like, we should be running. Like, I bet you, like, when I ran into the thread about retweeted JB and went into the campaign manager's thread, I know a lot of the faces in there because them be the same faces. My question is, where the rest of y'all at? This ain't just showing up for infotainment. Some people just don't be in there. They're not there. You got to be in here. I don't care what level, whether you're over here in person, whether you riding and researching and sending me stuff. Great. Some people send me a lot of information, some of which I use for the show. Y'all are wonderful. Everybody has a role to play, but you can't be sitting down saying, well, what he should have did, he should have just got dragged out of there and not cared. No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that, especially not at home with a wine spritzer, child. You don't get to do it. So I said what I said. Anyway, fam, we're going to get out. Don't forget, I have not announced a date because the conference is coming up. So where do we go from here? That's going to be the next book. So get it. Bakara, one of the mods, was lovely enough the last time to post the link. So go look at that show if she wasn't in there. I didn't have a chance to look and see what she did today or not. But to read the book, it's Adobe to read it for free. That's going to be our next conversation. So please, please, please check that out. And I will announce a day. Like I said, I probably won't accept, well, I'm not saying accept, but in terms of the shirts, the 10th will probably be the last day where I can assure you that you're going to get the shirt before the conference. We're going to try to sell shirts at the conference, but that'll be the last day because I'm going to try to concentrate on a lot of other stuff, and I'm not going to be dealing with shirts. So I'm going to try to get all the other orders out. I know some of you have not received your order. I should be getting them in a big batch this week, and so I will put those in bags and ship them out. So that is that. So if you haven't got, like, what Yvette, I ordered this August the 2nd. Calm down. Blame it on my head, not my heart. So anyway, the white shirts went really quick. I didn't expect that, so I didn't anticipate it, so it was a thing. But fam, please finish your libations. Do what you need to do. Enjoy yourself. Get some rest. I hope you enjoyed your Labor Day. We don't really have any labor laws or anything anymore. We don't really have union. But I hope you enjoyed your Labor Day. If you were off, I hope you got the rest you needed and that you deserved on your Labor Day. I hope you did. And we will have a conversation next time, fam. And hit that like button before you go. It costs you absolutely nothing to hit the like button. You can donate if you want to go to donatebrown.com or subscribe. You can go to subscribe2brown.com. That costs you nothing either. Subscribing, hitting the bell. Just hit that bell. If you haven't hit that bell to get notifications, please do that. I'd appreciate it. If you want to, Patreon, like I said, patreon.com/WildCarnell, donatebrown.com. All that stuff, most of it's in the description. Whatever you want to do. And we will see you next time. We're getting closer and closer to conference time. I'm excited. Okay, fam. All right. Let me get out of here. You all enjoy the rest of your night, fam.
You